If you lost all your money today, would you know exactly how to get it all back? Now, think about this. What if I told you that the Bible contains ancient principles that have been used by the wealthiest people in history to generate and multiply wealth? And what if those very same secrets are being applied today by modern entrepreneurs and millionaires, completely unknown to the majority? The most shocking part is that most people spend their entire lives struggling with financial problems because they were never taught how money truly works. They believe that simply working more hours or saving a little here and there will be enough. But it is not. Solomon, considered the wisest and wealthiest man who ever lived, applied principles that not only allowed him to accumulate riches but enabled him to build an empire. And the most impressive part is that those principles still work today. In this video, I am going to reveal the 12 millionaire biblical secrets of Solomon that can transform the way you see money and change your financial life forever. But there is something you need to know. The majority of people ignore these principles, and that is precisely why they remain trapped in debt, stress, and economic limitation. Stay until the end, because secret number 5 will astound you. It's something that most people are doing wrong without even realizing it. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, do it now and activate the notifications so you don't miss exclusive content that can change your financial life forever. Now, pay close attention, because what you are about to discover today can mark a definitive before and after in your relationship with money. Secret number 1. Wealth begins with wisdom. If you had the opportunity today to ask God for anything, what would it be? Most people would choose money, success, or power. But Solomon did something completely different. He asked for wisdom. And because of that single, profound request, he ended up obtaining wealth and prosperity on a scale that no one had ever seen before. What does this tell us? It tells us that true wealth does not begin with currency, but with the correct mindset. If so many people are struggling financially today, it is not because there is a lack of money in the world, but because there is a profound lack of knowledge on how to generate it, multiply it, and steward it. We live in an age where information is everywhere, but real, applicable knowledge remains scarce. There are people who work for over 40 years without ever achieving financial freedom, while others, in just a few years, manage to accumulate fortunes. The difference? Financial education. In the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki exposes a harsh truth. School teaches us how to work for money, but not how to make money work for us. The Bible, however, was already teaching this thousands of years ago through the life of Solomon. If we observe the great entrepreneurs of today, they all have one thing in common. They never stop learning. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, they all dedicate a significant portion of their time to reading and acquiring knowledge. This is not a coincidence. The biblical millionaire mindset is not just a matter of numbers. It is about having the wisdom to make intelligent decisions. The one who possesses this knowledge not only earns money but multiplies it and protects it strategically. The problem is that most people follow an inverted logic. First, they want money, and then they try to learn what to do with it. But as the proverb says, a fool spends everything he has, but a wise person saves for the future. Therein lies the key. Without knowledge, any fortune, no matter how great, will vanish. That's why, if you were to receive a large sum of money today without knowing how to manage it, how long would it take for you to lose it? There are countless stories of lottery winners who end up bankrupt just a few years later. Why? Because they did not ask for what Solomon asked for first: wisdom. So, what can you do today to apply this principle in your life? Start with something simple but powerful. Study. Learn about intelligent investing with biblical wisdom, the financial markets, assets, and entrepreneurship. It is not just about reading, but about applying that knowledge. Did you know that in the digital age, accessing valuable information is easier than ever? There are free courses, books, specialized channels. But the question is, are you dedicating time to that, or only to entertainment? Here is a powerful reflection. If Solomon, with all his greatness, understood that wisdom was more valuable than gold, why do so many today think they can prosper without learning about money? If we ignore knowledge, we are choosing poverty. The good news is that you can change this, but it all begins with a decision. Are you ready to learn what they never taught you about wealth? By the way, there is a complete playlist that delves even deeper into these principles and will reveal details that this video does not cover. It's called Solomon's Mentorship, Biblical Wisdom and Wealth, and it will appear at the end of the video. Do not miss it, because there you will discover how to apply this knowledge in your daily life. Secret number 2, the power of multiplying resources. Did you know that wealth is not determined by how much money you earn, but by what you do with it? Solomon understood this perfectly. He didn't just accumulate gold for the sake of having it. He made it grow, invested it, and multiplied it. In other words, he was not content with what he had. He put it to work. This is crucial because many people believe the solution is to simply earn more money, when in reality, the true difference lies in how they manage it. How to multiply money according to the Bible is a principle that few apply, but that can transform anyone's financial life. We live in an era where saving money without investing it is almost like losing it. Inflation devours purchasing power, and keeping large sums in a bank account without movement is like burying your talent without letting it grow. Solomon already knew this, and today, great entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett do the same. They do not let their money sit still, they reinvest it in new opportunities. The Code of Abundance, according to Solomon, teaches us that the key is to find ways to make every resource grow and multiply. But here comes the problem. Most people follow the opposite logic. As soon as they receive their salary, they spend it almost completely without thinking about the future. This is a fatal error. If someone lives on the edge every month without building assets, how do they expect to generate long-term wealth? The Bible tells us that the faithful servant multiplies what he receives, while the foolish one squanders it without a thought for tomorrow. Reflect for a moment. What do you do with the money that passes through your hands? Do you multiply it, or do you simply spend it? To apply this principle in your life, a change of mindset is necessary. Instead of just working for money, you must make money work for you. How? There are several ways: intelligent investments, your own businesses, real estate, or even financial education that helps you increase your income. The point is to have a clear strategy based on wisdom and not on impulse. Biblical finance for entrepreneurs doesn't just mean earning more, but knowing how to manage with a long-term vision. If Solomon understood this thousands of years ago, why do so many people today still fail to apply it? Perhaps because they were never taught. But now that you know, you can take action. Remember, money that is only saved loses value over time, but money that is wisely invested multiplies. Secret number 3, the key of multiple sources of income. Solomon did not depend on a single source of wealth. His empire was not built on a single business, but on multiple economic activities: trade, tributes, investments in land, construction of temples, and even agreements with other kingdoms. This is an essential principle that, to this day, continues to differentiate the rich from the middle and poor classes. The mindset of the rich in the Bible teaches us that diversifying income is the key to stability and abundance. The problem is that most people continue to depend on a single salary. Can you imagine what would happen if you lost your job tomorrow? Millions of people live with this uncertainty every month. However, millionaires do not run this risk because they have learned to generate income in different ways. Jeff Bezos does not only earn money from Amazon, but from multiple investments, just like Elon Musk with his various companies. Why? Because they know that diversification is the best protection against economic uncertainty. But here's the key: you do not need to be a billionaire entrepreneur to apply this principle. Today, there are many ways to generate wealth and prosperity according to the Bible without needing large investments. You can start with passive income, digital ventures, investments in real estate, or even monetizing your knowledge. The point is to understand that a single source of income is a vulnerability. If Solomon had multiple ways of generating wealth, why do so many people today insist on depending on a single income? The Bible teaches us that the wise person knows how to distribute their resources and does not put all their eggs in one basket. History has shown that those who apply this principle achieve sustained prosperity. In contrast, those who ignore this lesson tend to live in a constant state of financial stress. Now, ask yourself this question: are you building new sources of income, or are you still depending on just one? If the answer is the latter, it is time to change your strategy. Entrepreneurship with biblical principles means building a solid financial future, and it all starts with one decision: to diversify. Secret number 4: strategic generosity, giving to receive. Solomon understood a powerful principle: giving is not losing, it is multiplying. In the Bible, we find a clear pattern. Those who practice generosity intelligently end up receiving much more than they gave. And it's not just about money, but about opportunities, connections, and blessings that return in unexpected ways. How to attract money with biblical principles does not mean simply accumulating wealth, but learning to sow in the right place so that the harvest will be abundant. The problem is that many people see generosity as an expense, not as an investment. But if we look at the great millionaires of the world, many of them apply this principle without even realizing it. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have donated billions, and yet their wealth continues to grow. This is due to a universal law. When you give with purpose, you create a network of favors, opportunities, and growth that sooner or later returns to you multiplied. The secrets of wealth in the Bible are not theory. They are principles proven throughout history. This does not mean giving without a strategy. Solomon knew to whom and how to give. He did not squander his fortune, but used it with purpose. He built the temple, helped his people, and established strategic alliances. In other words, his generosity had vision. In today's world, this means investing in relationships, supporting causes that generate impact, and sowing where there is truly fertile ground. How many times have we spent money on meaningless things but find it hard to help someone in need? Now, think about your life. How many times have you missed opportunities by not sowing at the right moment? Sometimes the fear of giving makes us lose valuable connections, innovative ideas, or even businesses that could have changed our lives. It's not just about money, but about attitude. How to manage money with divine wisdom involves understanding that prosperity does not come from holding on, but from knowing how to release at the right time. It is easy to think that giving leaves us with less, But the truth is that it activates a cycle of growth that many ignore. In the Bible, we see that he who sows generously reaps abundantly. And this is not just a spiritual belief, it is a principle that works even in the business world. Ask any successful entrepreneur, and they will tell you that their success came not only from what they earned, but from what they knew how to share strategically. So today, I leave you with this reflection. Are you holding on out of fear, or are you sowing with purpose? If you want to see changes in your financial life, start applying this principle. It is not about giving everything away without measure, but about learning where and how to sow so that your harvest will be abundant. That said, we know that many people are going through financial and emotional difficulties. If you need us to pray for your life, leave your request in the comments. We believe in the power of prayer and have seen testimonies of transformation in many areas. You are not alone. We are here to intercede for you and declare blessing over your finances and your future. Secret number 5. Work with intelligence, not just effort. Now that we understand the importance of sowing with purpose, there is another principle that Solomon mastered to perfection. It is not enough to work hard. You must work intelligently. Society has taught us that the more we strive, the more successful we will be. But if it were just a matter of physical effort, why do some work from sunrise to sunset and remain in the same financial situation, while others achieve financial freedom with intelligence without being overloaded with work? The problem is not the lack of work, but the lack of strategy. Solomon did not wear himself out doing everything himself. He knew how to delegate, build systems, and surround himself with capable people. Today, the most successful entrepreneurs in the world do the same. They do not work more hours, they make their time more valuable. A clear example of this is the book The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, which explains how to structure a business efficiently to obtain great results with less effort. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that being busy is synonymous with being productive. But there is a big difference between moving a lot and advancing in the right direction. An entrepreneur who knows how to delegate and automate their business can generate wealth and prosperity according to the Bible without being enslaved to their work. In contrast, someone who only focuses on working more hours may end up exhausted, without significant results, and without time to enjoy life. This is where a crucial point comes in. What are you doing to make your money work for you? The key is to learn how to build income streams that continue to generate profits even when you are not present. Great investors understand this perfectly. A good example is the digital world. Content creators on YouTube, digital entrepreneurs, and marketing experts build systems that generate income 24 hours a day. Why couldn't you do the same? That's why I want you to declare something over your life right now. If you truly believe in these principles and are willing to apply them, leave in the comments the following phrase: God gives me wisdom to prosper with intelligence and purpose. Write this as an act of faith, declaring that from today on, you will make more strategic decisions in your financial life. Working hard is not enough if you do not have a clear vision. Remember, Solomon was not only wise, he was also strategic. And you, how are you using your time and your effort? Secret number 6, control money instead of being controlled by it. Many believe that if they earned more money, their financial problems would disappear. But the truth is, it's not about how much you earn, but how you manage what you have. Solomon understood that his financial wisdom was not in accumulating wealth without control, but in managing his resources with intelligence. If you do not have dominion over your money will end up dominating you. One of the biggest financial mistakes is increasing expenses every time income increases. This is known as the trap of lifestyle inflation. How many times have you seen someone who gets a raise at work and, instead of saving or investing, immediately buys a new car or a more expensive cell phone? Solomon warned about this behavior when he said, "The foolish man spends all he has, but the wise man saves for the future." The financial mistakes that destroy fortunes begin with a lack of control and the inability to differentiate between wants and needs. In today's society, consumption has become a trap. Social media bombards us with ads, influencers showing off luxurious lifestyles, and constant pressure to buy more. But have you ever wondered how many of those people can truly afford that level of living? Often, what we see is pure appearance. True wealth is not about how much you show, but how much you protect. In the book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker explains that the rich do not spend on impulse, but manage their money with clear strategies. They have budgets, they invest before they spend, and above all, they do not fall into the trap of consumerism. Solomon taught this thousands of years earlier. True prosperity is built with financial discipline. How to manage money with divine wisdom means understanding that every resource God gives us must be managed with responsibility. Here is a key question for reflection. Do you know exactly what you spent your money on last month? If you do not have control over your finances, you are likely missing opportunities for growth. A person who spends without a plan will always live on the edge, no matter how much they earn. That is why one of the most important secrets of Solomon is to learn to govern your money instead of being governed by it. If you do not take control of your money, someone else will do it for you. Banks, credit companies, salespeople who know how to manipulate you into spending without thinking. But now that you know this principle, you have the power to do something different. The key to prosperity in the Bible is not how much money you have in the bank, but how you use it to build a stable and blessed future. Secret number 7. Surround yourself with wise and prosperous people. If you want to know where your financial life is headed, observe who you spend most of your time with. Solomon did not build his empire alone. He surrounded himself with counselors, merchants, and kings who were also prosperous and wise. He knew that wealth is not just a matter of money, but also of mindset. What millionaires apply from the Bible is precisely this principle. The environment you are in largely determines your destiny. Have you ever noticed how successful people tend to group together? It's not a coincidence. In the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about masterminds, groups of people who support each other to grow. Great entrepreneurs like Warren Buffett and Elon Musk not only seek knowledge, but also seek to surround themselves with other visionaries. Entrepreneurship with biblical principles means understanding that the quality of your relationships directly influences the quality of your financial life. The problem is that many people surround themselves with negative people who are always complaining about the economy, the government, or the lack of opportunities. They do not realize that their social circle is holding back their growth. If you spend too much time with people who only see difficulties in everything, you will end up adopting the same mindset. Solomon said, "He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm." Now, pause and reflect. Do the people you interact with the most inspire you to grow, or do they pull you down into mediocrity? It is not about abandoning friendships, but about being intentional with whom you choose to learn from. Today, thanks to the internet, you can access digital mentors, books, conferences, and communities that bring you closer to the right mindset. There are no excuses for staying stuck when knowledge is just a click away. The biggest opportunities do not come just from what you know, but from who you know. A right connection can open doors for you that you never imagined. If Solomon, with all his wisdom, understood the importance of a good environment, how much more should we apply it? Biblical finance for entrepreneurs is not just about numbers, but about learning with the right people. So here is the challenge. Analyze your environment and make adjustments if necessary. Seek to learn from people who are already where you want to be, because wisdom and prosperity are contagious. Are you surrounded by people who push you forward or by people who limit you? Secret number 8, patience and long-term construction. We live in an age of immediacy. We want quick results, easy money, and effortless success. But if there is one thing that Solomon understood perfectly, it is that true wealth is not built overnight. He knew that patience was key to building a solid and lasting empire. The Code of Abundance, according to Solomon, teaches us that wealth obtained without planning does not last. How many times have we seen people win large sums of money quickly and lose it all in a short time? The problem for many today is impatience. They want to invest today and double their money tomorrow. They look for financial shortcuts and end up falling for frauds, pyramid schemes, or meaningless investments. This is exactly the opposite of what is taught in biblical finance for entrepreneurs. Solomon built his wealth with a long-term vision, growing his kingdom with sustainable strategies. The most successful entrepreneurs in the world today, like Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, apply this same principle. They reinvest and wait for the natural growth of their businesses instead of seeking immediate profits. The book of Proverbs warns us, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. This principle is still valid today. No matter how much you earn, if you do not have the right mindset to preserve and multiply what you have, you will lose it. Instead of looking for immediate results, the focus should be on building assets, creating multiple sources of income, and developing financial intelligence. How to multiply money according to the Bible involves thinking long-term, not in magic solutions. If we look at the world of investments, the great millionaires do not bet on quick gains. They invest with patience, allowing compound interest to do its work over time. The same happens in the digital world. Content creators, entrepreneurs, and successful business people do not see success overnight but build with consistency. The mindset of the rich in the Bible is clear. Real prosperity is the fruit of strategy and perseverance. Now I ask you, are you building your financial future with patience, or are you looking for immediate results without foundations? If you want to see real changes in your economic life, it is time to apply this principle. The difference between success and failure often lies in the ability to wait for the right time for each harvest. Secret number 9, know when to speak and when to be silent. Solomon was not only wise in financial decisions, he also understood the power of words. In the Bible, we find a key principle. When words are many, sin is not absent, but he who holds his tongue is wise. Wealth is not just a matter of how much money you earn, but of how you handle information. How to manage money with divine wisdom also involves knowing when to share plans and when to keep them secret. One of the most common mistakes in the world of business and finance is talking too much. Many people reveal their ideas prematurely, tell their projects to those they shouldn't, or boast about their achievements without thinking about the consequences. Solomon knew that discretion is a strength. Today, great entrepreneurs also know this. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk never reveal their strategies before executing them. The financial mistakes that destroy fortunes often begin with poorly managed words. In the book, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene explains that silence can be more powerful than any speech. Those who control information have an advantage in any negotiation. If you want to apply the secrets of wealth in the Bible, learn to use your words intelligently. Not everyone should know your financial plans, your investments, or your next moves. In the age of social media, many people feel the need to share everything: how much they earn, what they bought, what projects they are starting. But exposing too much can attract envy, distractions, and even premature failures. Discretion is a key tool for prosperity. Has it ever happened to you that you shared a plan with someone and suddenly things started to go wrong? The Bible warns us about this. A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. So here is the challenge. Before talking about your financial plans, ask yourself if it is really necessary. Prudence can make the difference between success and failure. The key to prosperity in the Bible is not just in how much money you generate, but in how you protect the information that leads you to wealth. Secret number 10: emotional intelligence and control. Wealth depends not only on how much money you earn or what you invest in, but on how you handle your emotions in the process. Solomon understood that a wise leader cannot be carried away by impulses, because decisions made in moments of anger, fear, or desperation can lead to disaster. And this applies to finances. The financial mistakes that destroy fortunes often begin with a poorly managed emotion. How many times have you bought something just because you were stressed or bored, or made a hasty decision for fear of missing an opportunity? The financial market is full of people who lose money because they let emotion guide their investments. This is what happens when someone panics and sells their assets at the worst possible moment or invests in something just out of enthusiasm without analyzing it properly. How to manage money with divine wisdom also involves mastering the mind before acting. The book, Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman explains that our brain has two systems for decision-making, one impulsive and emotional, and the other rational and analytical. People who achieve financial success know when to slow down and think before acting. In the Bible, Solomon warned that he who rules his spirit is better than he who takes a city. In other words, if you do not control your emotions, you will never control your money. In the business world, the most successful investors are not those who react with fear or euphoria, but those who follow clear strategies without being carried away by the chaos of the moment. The mindset of the rich in the Bible is based on prudence and self-control. And this applies not only to great entrepreneurs, but to anyone who wants to improve their financial situation. Before making a decision with your money, stop, analyze, and ask yourself if you are acting out of emotion or strategy. Pause and reflect. How many times in your financial life have you made impulsive decisions and later regretted them? Mastering emotions does not mean ignoring them, but learning to use them to your advantage. Emotional intelligence not only helps you prosper, but also protects you from falling into financial traps. How to achieve financial stability with the Word of God also means learning to trust in the right timing instead of acting out of anxiety or desperation. If you control your mind, you will control your money. And if you control your money, you will have the power to build a prosperous and stable future. The question is, are you ready to take control of your emotions and use wisdom to your advantage? Secret number 11: faith and trust in God for prosperity. Solomon had access to unimaginable riches, but he knew that the true source of his prosperity was not in the gold or in his skills, but in his relationship with God. He understood that wealth without purpose is a burden and that the key to true abundance is trusting in God as the provider. How to achieve financial stability with the Word of God means recognizing that our strengths are limited, but His provision is inexhaustible. Today, many people seek financial security in their jobs, in their savings, or in investments. But what happens when the market changes, when opportunities vanish, or when an unexpected crisis arrives? Solomon teaches us that stability does not come from the material, but from an unshakable faith in the God who gives the increase. The key to prosperity in the Bible is not just human effort, but divine dependence. The difference between prosperity and greed lies in the purpose. Solomon did not accumulate riches just for himself. He used them to bless others and to build the temple of God. When you understand that money is a tool and not an end in itself, you stop living with financial anxiety and begin to see God's provision in every step. How to attract money with biblical principles does not mean just seeking wealth, but learning to manage it with wisdom and gratitude. In the book, The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod talks about how gratitude and faith impact our finances. And this is not just theory. Great entrepreneurs and successful business people have learned to visualize success before achieving it. But the Bible already taught us this long ago. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. Solomon knew that every step had to be guided by God for his success to be lasting. If you have come this far, it is because deep down, you know that God has something more for you, that your financial life does not have to be a constant worry, that the same God who multiplied the wisdom and riches of Solomon can guide you to make better economic decisions. Entrepreneurship with biblical principles is trusting that God will open paths where you did not see them before. So the final question is, are you willing to trust God with your finances? Because faith without action is sterile. Now that you know these 12 secrets, it is up to you to apply them and see how God transforms your economic life. Secret number 12: creation as the key to prosperity. Solomon was not only a wise and rich man, but also a creator. He understood that true wealth is not just about managing what you already have, but about generating new opportunities. His empire grew because he knew how to expand, innovate, and take advantage of every available resource. The code of abundance, according to Solomon, shows us that prosperous people do not wait for wealth to come to them. They create it. Today, we live in an era where the richest are not those who work the hardest physically, but those who have learned to create value. Jeff Bezos with Amazon, Elon Musk with Tesla, Steve Jobs with Apple, they all started from scratch, but their vision for innovation led them to build empires. The Bible already taught us this principle long before. He who works his land will have abundant food, but he who chases fantasies will have his fill of poverty. In other words, wealth is for those who produce something new, not for those who always depend on others. In the digital age, this principle is more evident than ever. Before, to generate wealth, you needed large investments in factories, infrastructure, or materials. Today, you can create content, info products, digital businesses, or invest in assets that do not require a physical presence. The biggest influencers on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram have built fortunes simply by sharing knowledge and entertaining their audience. How to multiply money according to the Bible means using the resources and talents you already have to generate something valuable. The problem is that many people are still trapped in a dependency mindset. They expect a boss, the government, or luck to change their financial situation. But Solomon teaches us that those who wait too long miss opportunities. The key is to take action and develop ideas with a long-term vision. Biblical finance for entrepreneurs is not just about managing money well, but about generating new forms of income. Now, think about this. Are you creating something that can generate wealth, or are you just consuming what others create? Today, anyone with internet access has the possibility to start a business and change their economic situation. The question is whether you are willing to step out of your comfort zone and start building instead of just waiting. Prosperity comes to those who decide to act. And if Solomon managed to build an empire based on wisdom and creation, what prevents you from doing the same with the resources you have today? Now that you know these 12 secrets of Solomon, the question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because the truth is, knowing is not enough. What really changes lives is applying what you have learned. The difference between those who remain trapped in financial problems and those who achieve wealth and prosperity according to the Bible lies in the decisions they make starting today. Perhaps you have lived with economic uncertainty, struggling month to month to cover expenses, feeling trapped in a cycle that seems to have no end. But if there is one thing the Bible teaches us, it is that God did not design us to live in fear of money, but to manage it with wisdom. How to achieve financial stability with the Word of God is not just a theory, but a promise that has transformed many people. If you feel you need direction in your financial life, leave us your prayer request in the comments. And remember, write in the comments the phrase, "I declare that God guides me in my financial prosperity." If you really want to delve deeper into these principles and understand how to apply them successfully, you cannot miss the playlist Solomon's Mentorship, Biblical Wisdom and Wealth, which will appear on the screen at the end of this video. There you will discover strategies that can accelerate your path to financial stability. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notifications to continue learning about these topics that can transform your life. Give it a like if this content helped you, and share this video with someone who really needs it. May God bless your life, your decisions, and your finances.